In the world of Hollywood, public images often appear flawless. Glamorous red carpets, smiling photographs, and carefully crafted headlines can create the illusion that celebrity relationships exist in a permanent spotlight of happiness. Yet behind those images, reality is often far more complicated. The story of Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher is one example that reveals how fame, expectations, and personal vulnerability can intersect in powerful ways. For years, the relationship between the two actors fascinated audiences around the world. Their marriage challenged traditional expectations in Hollywood, particularly because of their age difference. While many observers celebrated their confidence and openness, others criticized the relationship in ways that reflected deeper social biases. As time passed, what initially appeared to be a bold and modern partnership slowly revealed a far more complex emotional journey. Today, as Demi Moore reflects on that period of her life, her perspective offers more than celebrity gossip. Instead, it invites a broader discussion about aging, identity, power dynamics, and the emotional pressures that often accompany life in the public eye. When Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher first met, the connection reportedly felt natural and immediate. Both were already well known in the entertainment industry, yet they came from very different stages of life. Moore had spent decades building a reputation as one of Hollywood's most recognizable actresses. Her career included major film successes and a highly publicized marriage to actor Bruce Willis. By the time she encountered Kutcher, she had already experienced both professional triumph and personal reinvention. Kutcher, on the other hand, was rising quickly in Hollywood with youthful energy and growing popularity. The contrast between their experiences created a dynamic that fascinated the media almost instantly. What might have been a private relationship for most couples became headline material for tabloids and entertainment programs. Instead of simply being viewed as two people exploring a connection, their partnership became a symbol. Some observers praised it as progressive, while others focused almost entirely on the age difference. In many ways, the relationship began under a microscope that would remain fixed on them for years. Public reaction to their relationship revealed something deeper about Hollywood culture and societal expectations. For decades, audiences had become accustomed to older male celebrities dating significantly younger women. Those relationships rarely sparked widespread criticism. However, when the roles were reversed, the reaction was noticeably different. Demi Moore found herself facing intense scrutiny that often went beyond curiosity. Commentators debated her appearance, questioned her motivations, and framed the relationship as unusual or even controversial. The tone of the discussion highlighted an uncomfortable double standard within both media and entertainment culture. Instead of focusing on the couple's personal compatibility, much of the conversation centered on age, attractiveness, and the perceived rules of romance in the public eye. Despite this criticism, Moore maintained a confident public presence. Interviews and appearances suggested that she was determined not to allow outside opinions to dictate her personal choices. Yet constant public judgment can create pressure even for the most experienced celebrities. Over time, the external commentary surrounding their relationship became an unavoidable part of the story. When Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher eventually married, the ceremony appeared to symbolize a new chapter built on confidence and modern values. Friends, family members, and fellow celebrities attended the event, and the atmosphere seemed supportive. One detail that attracted particular attention was the presence of Moore's former husband Bruce Willis, whose friendly relationship with the couple was often described as an example of mature co-parenting and mutual respect. For observers, the wedding suggested that this unconventional partnership had successfully blended families and past relationships into something stable. Kutcher also stepped into the role of stepfather to Moore's 3 daughters, which further reinforced the image of a supportive family environment. From the outside, their life together appeared vibrant and full of possibility. Social media posts, public appearances, and interviews created the impression of a relationship defined by humor and affection. Yet, as many couples eventually discover, the reality of marriage often involves pressures that remain invisible to the public. One of the most significant emotional moments during their marriage occurred when Demi Moore became pregnant. For many couples, the prospect of having a child represents a powerful symbol of shared future and deeper commitment. Reports later revealed that Moore viewed the pregnancy as an important milestone within the relationship. It seemed to represent stability and the possibility of expanding their family together. However, the experience took a heartbreaking turn when she suffered a miscarriage. The loss reportedly affected her deeply and introduced a level of grief that was difficult to process publicly. Pregnancy loss can be emotionally devastating for any family, but the experience becomes even more complicated when personal pain unfolds under intense media attention. According to Moore's later reflections, the event left her questioning aspects of herself and her circumstances. Rather than openly sharing the depth of her grief at the time, she internalized much of the emotional impact. In hindsight, she has described that period as a turning point that quietly altered the emotional foundation of the relationship. Following the miscarriage, life continued moving forward for both actors, yet their professional paths began evolving in different directions. Ashton Kutcher's career expanded rapidly with new acting roles and television projects. His schedule required frequent travel, long filming periods, and increased exposure to Hollywood's fast-paced social environment. Meanwhile, Demi Moore's professional life entered a more reflective phase. Having already achieved decades of success, she began spending more time focusing on family responsibilities and personal priorities. While such changes are common in long-term relationships, they can sometimes create unexpected emotional distance. When one partner experiences rapid career growth while the other shifts toward a quieter lifestyle, the difference in daily experiences may slowly reshape the dynamics of the relationship. In Moore's later reflections, she suggested that this imbalance contributed to feelings of uncertainty. Although the couple continued appearing united in public, subtle changes were taking place behind the scenes. Another challenge during this period involved Moore's long-standing commitment to sobriety. For many years, she had maintained a lifestyle free from alcohol and substance use. However, emotional stress can sometimes reopen old vulnerabilities. After the miscarriage and the growing pressures surrounding the relationship, she began reconsidering whether moderate drinking might feel socially normal or harmless. What started as occasional social drinking gradually became more complicated. In interviews and later writings, Moore described this period not as a sudden collapse, but as a slow shift influenced by grief and emotional exhaustion. Coping mechanisms that initially seemed manageable can become more difficult when combined with unresolved feelings and constant public attention. The experience highlights how personal struggles often develop quietly, even for individuals who appear strong in the public eye. While the relationship itself was not defined solely by this issue, the change represented another layer of complexity in an already demanding emotional landscape. As time passed, the marriage required increasing levels of compromise from both partners. In many relationships, compromise is a natural and necessary part of maintaining harmony. However, Moore later explained that some of the choices she made during this period were influenced by deeper fears. She has spoken about worrying that disagreements might threaten the stability of the relationship or reinforce public criticism about their age difference. In an environment where personal life was constantly discussed by media outlets, maintaining the image of a successful partnership became an additional pressure. According to her reflections, certain situations challenged her personal boundaries and values. Rather than addressing those concerns directly, she sometimes chose silence in hopes of preserving peace. Over time, these decisions created emotional tension that was difficult to resolve. The experience illustrates how even successful individuals can struggle with the balance between maintaining a relationship and protecting their own sense of identity. Eventually, rumors began circulating within the entertainment media, suggesting that the relationship was facing serious difficulties. In Hollywood, speculation often spreads quickly, particularly when high-profile couples are involved. Headlines and gossip columns began discussing alleged conflicts and possible infidelity. For any couple, confronting such accusations would be challenging. When those accusations unfold publicly, the emotional impact can become even more overwhelming. According to Moore's later accounts, This period was deeply painful, not only because of the allegations themselves, but also because the details were discussed widely in the press. Private conversations and personal emotions were suddenly transformed into public narratives shaped by speculation. The experience illustrates a recurring challenge within celebrity culture: the loss of privacy during moments of vulnerability. When personal struggles become entertainment for audiences, the individuals involved often have little control over how their story is portrayed. A public controversy eventually reached a point where the future of the marriage became uncertain. Reports of alleged infidelity dominated entertainment headlines, and the situation placed both actors under intense scrutiny. For more, the emotional weight of these events reportedly felt overwhelming after years of internal struggle and external criticism. She later described realizing that the relationship had reached a point where continuing forward would require confronting difficult truths. The realization did not arrive suddenly, but developed gradually as trust and communication weakened. Many relationships experience conflict, yet the combination of public pressure, personal grief, and unresolved differences can make recovery extremely difficult. When the couple ultimately decided to separate, the announcement confirmed what many observers had already suspected. However, the end of the marriage also marked the beginning of a much deeper personal journey for Moore. In the years that followed, she began reflecting more openly on the lessons, mistakes, and insights that emerged from that chapter of her life.